Get ready, Dental Labs. Either Class Flash Sale is here. From November the 3rd to the 14th, you can score unbeatable deals on the equipment that will set you up for success in 2026. Whether you're upgrading your mill, your furnace, or expanding your workflow, now's the time to save big. And here's the best part. When you purchase a milling machine, delivery, installation, and training are all included, so you'll be production ready from day one. But hurry, these offers won't last long. Reach out to your Either Class sales rep today and don't miss your chance to power up your lab for the year ahead.
Welcome to Voices from the Bench, a dental laboratory podcast. Send us an email at info@voicesfromthebench.com and follow us on Facebook and Instagram. Greetings and welcome to episode 397 of Voices from the Bench. My name is Elvis.
And my name is Barbara. Still.
Barbara, what's happening?
Not much.
Recording this early, getting ready for your big cruise.
3 days. 3 more working days, and I am out of here for a while, so I'm excited.
What happens to your department when you're gone for that long? Do they just don't do work?
Nah. I can only tell you that when I went to Germany, I came back to over 300 units, and it was a little bit fierce. And, but hopefully we've got a plan and we're not going to jam up work and they're going to kick butt.
So basically you got to come back and do it all.
I hope not. I hope that this trip, everything goes as planned and I don't. But yeah, everybody deserves some balance in life and everybody deserves to get away and
100%.
Go out of town and not stress. So I guess I'm kind of at the state of mind where bleep it.
Well, are you working extra hard before you go, or is that? Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, you're knocking them out.
My son and I were in the urgent care, but we're good. He's fine, and so probably tomorrow, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday.
Be working late, going in early.
Yeah, pretty much.
The sacrifice we do just for some time off.
I know, but talk to me. Dental NOAC Supply.
Yeah, NOAC Dental Supply Lab Fest is this weekend in New Orleans. I couldn't be more excited. Super excited. I can't imagine we're going to convince anyone to register and buy a ticket for like this Thursday. I think, if you were going to go, you're going to go.
But they should, though.
So I will say I do look forward to seeing everyone. And, of course, to come find me at the Adite booth where we can chat about anything you want within reason.
You know they're going to come find you.
I hope so. That's the idea. And since you're not going to be there, I can talk for hours if I wanted to.
Yes, I know. I usually am the cutoff girl. But I know that you want to have plenty of content and there's going to be all kinds of great people. It's going to be a great event. Mm-hmm. So for both of us, kick butt and have fun.
Appreciate that. We're going to miss you.
And I know you will.
Yeah.
So this is also the last week. I know everybody's on social media, but if you find our shirts, it's a simple name tag on the front that says Dental Technician and the podcast logo on the back. They are selling a little slower than usual, so either everyone is strapped for cash because of the economy, or y'all don't like the design.
Aww.
Feel free to shoot us some ideas for future shirts, but this amazing design ends at the end of this week, and a reminder, guys, all the money goes to the Foundation for Dental Laboratory Technology. So head over to voicesfromthebench.com/shirts to see the styles and the colors and order one today. And just by the way, before I leave, I'm going to order at least 3 shirts.
Yay.
Yeah.
And everybody wants to do more than Barb, so the bar is set at 4. So this week we got to have a very special conversation with a pretty special technician from Australia. Marc Rondeau started in the dental lab industry at the age of 17. After discovering it, he was one of the 30 trying to get into a school with 300 applicants.
That's pretty fierce.
That's insane. That was in the 70s. I guess there was a lot more people that wanted to be technicians back then.
Yeah.
After graduation, he learned in London and then came back to Australia and did what all technicians do. Basically, we work too much.
Yep.
And it kind of controlled our lives. But it was a horrible, but somehow lucky car accident that sent him on a path to a better work-life balance. He's now a full-time teacher at the same college that taught him. He owns his own boutique lab, and he DJs at nightclubs at 60 years young, and he seems pretty happy.
Exceptional. Yeah.
Did we also mention that he's the VP of the Australian Dental Technicians Association? Well, he's doing that too. So join us as we chat with Marc Rondeau. In just a few short weeks, we're going to be dropping our long-awaited chat with Jordan Greenberg, the manager director of Follow Me Technology, but more affectionately known as the Hyperdent Dude.
Yeah, Elvis, that was an interesting one. I don't think we've ever had somebody on the podcast that went into such depth about CAM software, have we?
No, of course we haven't. And it was long overdue because it seems like a ton of labs underestimate how much CAM dictates the efficiency and capabilities of their equipment.
Well, machine manufacturers certainly don't, which is probably why Roland DGA, who truly recognize the value of CAM. They have partnered with Follow Me North America to offer their own Hyperdent bundle. They pair it with their DWX 53D series devices.
But since Roland wants everyone to benefit from this collaboration, including their existing users, they're offering a Hyperdent trade-in promo.
Oh my God, what a great opportunity, especially for labs that want to optimize the quality and efficiency of their advanced workflows, like those tricky full arch direct to multi-unit cases.
Oh, I know about those.
I know you do.
We're talking real benefits. Jordan said that some labs have achieved almost 2 hours in cycle time savings, all without sacrificing quality.
2 hours? That is like literally no joke. Maybe us lab techs would finally make it home for dinner, for once.
I wouldn't count on that, Barb. Don't you like eating at 11 p.m.?
No.
But if you're running a Roland mill, definitely talk to your dealer about the Roland DGA Hyperdent bundle, especially that trade-in promo.
Good call, everybody. Our friends at NOAC, by the way, are participating. And as an added bonus for NOLA Lab Fest attendees, they'll be tacking on an extra feature, multiple instances, at no cost.
Wow, that's pretty awesome, huh?
Yeah, I'll say.
Hey, speaking of NOLA Lab Fest, did you realize it's less than 2 weeks away?
Yes, guys. I'll be on vacation, but November 7th to the 8th. Yes, you're right, Elvis. It is literally right around the corner.
Yep, and you know who else will be there? Jordan.
Hi,
So
Jordan.
definitely snag one of the last remaining spots at LabFest, track them down, and we can all talk about Hyperdent Cam in the Bayou.
In the bayou's right. Perfect. Let's go, guys.
Voices from the Bench. The interview. So Barb and I are actually recording late in the day today in order to compensate to talk to a gentleman who's recording early in the morning of tomorrow, all the way from Sydney, Australia. Marc Rondeau, how are you, sir?
I'm good, thank you. A pleasure to be with you.
Good
This
morning,
is so
good
exciting.
evening. Yeah, totally.
Barb and I love talking to people from,
With
all
accents.
around the world and accents. Yeah, it works.
Barb
It
loves
does a podcast good.
Mm-hmm.
But we don't get very many from Australia just because of the time difference. And I appreciate you, again, getting up early and talking to us.
Well, if you're a dental technician or if you're in the dental industry, 8 o'clock is not early.
Yeah.
That is
and
true.
I think, as you said,
You-
you're already multitasking.
You've probably already scanned half a dozen cases, pulled the zirconia out of the furnace, and been harassed
Taken
by 2 or
6
3
calls.
dentists.
There you go.
Where's my
Yep.
job? You know?
Actually, pretty much, yes. I
Yeah.
would say that.
So, Mark, tell us your story. How did you get into the dental lab field?
Okay. All right. Well, I'll just give you a bit of background about me, and
Yeah.
then I'll sort of start from the beginning. I'm 60 years of age. I've been in the industry since I was 17.
Me
Wow.
too. Wow. Your voice
uh,
sounds like you're 40.
Look, my mind tells me I'm 25.
I know, it's
My
bullshit,
mind
isn't
says
it?
I'm 25. My wife still thinks I'm 10, but that's another story.
Yeah.
Uh,
The mind of a 13-year-old, the humor.
When I was at high school, my parents sort of saw in me someone who was very good with their hands. Like I was always building things. I was always pulling stuff apart and putting it back together. I was
Yep.
always, using power tools and helping my dad do construction stuff, and was just basically a really hands-on sort of guy. And I really enjoyed that sort of stuff. And my main sort of idea in the late 70s, early 80s was I wanted to go into building or construction or carpentry or something like that. And at the time, our industry was in, well, pretty much recession and there was no work available. And I spoke to a couple of people about other sort of things that I might be interested in where it was creative using your hands.
Mm-hmm.
And one of them was dental technology. And so through various contacts, I went and looked at a few labs and a few dentists and a few other sort of connections through the dental industry. And I discovered that there's this job called dental technician. And what they do is they create mini sculptures. What they do is they carve and they make and they cast and they use acrylics and they use, all that sort of stuff that we know about. As a 16-year-old, I thought, wow, this could be really quite interesting for me. So I did some more research. I found out that we had a technical college that taught that, and so I applied to get in. And in our college in New South Wales, in Sydney, there's only one college that trains dental technicians, and that's always been the way. Well, since I can remember, in the 50s and 60s, it was an apprenticeship scheme where you would go and do an apprenticeship with an existing dental technician. And I think it was about 1979 they changed it to a traineeship, which is sort of like a level above apprenticeship. Anyway, so I applied to do that course along with 300 other people, and
Really?
300
yeah,
300
people?
people?
yeah, 300 people each
Wow.
year. Well, when I did it, 300 people would apply to do that course, but the course only took 30 people. So
Oh, jeez.
I was lucky enough to be one of those people.
When you say lucky enough, like how do they get 30 people out of 300? Is it
Yeah, who'd
Oh,
you pay off?
like
it
how do you
was
get that
it was
10%?
okay. It was a very, very stringent selection process. We had to do a biology exam, a maths exam, an English exam,
Oh,
a knowledge
wow.
So you
exam on
had
the
to be smart.
course. A
Yeah.
knowledge exam on the course, and then we had an interview with two of the head teachers there to find out whether we knew about the course and what our intentions were. And then we had to sit a manual dexterity test. You had to carve a block of wax into a
Yep.
specific
Yep.
shape, and then you were given some ortho wire, and you had to bend the ortho wire into a
Wow.
couple of specific shapes as well. So from all of those tasks, all of those assessment criteria, then they'd pick their 30 out of that 300. And as I said, I've always been very good with my hands, so
So it was
the manual
easy.
dexterity part wasn't that difficult.
Yep.
The English was fairly easy. Biology was for me quite tough, and the knowledge of the course I'd read up on it, and I knew it like the back of my hand. So I impressed the head teachers with that.
Smart.
So
Yeah.
obviously I faked it until I made it,
That is
So,
so great.
Yeah.
I don't think Elvis and
That's
I have ever talked to anybody that's been 30 out of 300, and you actually had to
that's
be
a
kind of good
lot.
at it. Yeah, that's a great story.
when I did our course, it was 3,700 hours over 2 years. So it's a full time course as a dental technician. And then after that 2 years, you had to go and work in a laboratory as on site work, and you had to work for 2 years in a lab.
Yeah.
And back then, we had registration, state registration for dental technicians. Now, registration means that if you're a healthcare worker, you get registered with the state government and you're responsible to them. And
Wow.
what we had to do is after we finished our 2 years working in a laboratory, we then had to sit a 4-day exam where you were tested on basically everything in dental technology. So that's crown and bridge, ortho, acrylic, chrome, the whole gamut, everything. And so you had to do repairs, you had to do a full over full setup, adjustable, you had to do a platinum foil coping, you had to do a build up, you had to do ortho wires. There was everything you had to do, right? And it was
Wow.
a very, very, very tough exam to get through. And again, luckily, I managed to pass that first go. I
Nice.
achieved registration with New South Wales government, and I went out and started to become a dental technician. Now, the funny thing is, after doing all of that, you're still only a beginner. You're still only
I
learning.
know. You're still only like 20 something. You've got to be pretty awesome though. Damn.
Well, I was a bit of a legend in my own mind, tell you the truth.
You're a legend in my mind right now. Just saying. Don't tell your wife.
You're still getting hired for like entry level positions after all that?
Yes, you are, because don't forget our career or our work is a skill set. It's a skill based set. So, I suppose a lot of the younger dental technicians now are all on CAD CAM and they're doing all the CAD CAM stuff. But
Sure.
but back when I did it, it was all analog. It was all manual. So
Mhm.
you only started to get good at it after about 5 or 10 years.
After you did it a lot.
To be a good ceramist, you had to get those numbers through. You had to learn how to do 1,000 crowns. To wax a gold crown, you had to learn how to wax 1,000 gold crowns. To do a full over full setup, you had to do that a lot of times before you started to get it done well, but also
Sure.
quickly too. Like, if I sat there for a day, I could probably wax up a gold crown that was absolutely perfect. But no boss is going to let you sit there and wax one gold crown all day.
Yeah.
So anyway, the point is you start to get good after about 5 or 10 years, and you really sort of
Yeah.
reach the peak of your skill level about a couple of years before you retire.
That's kind of funny. Just saying. After you passed that exam
Yeah.
so well and stellar, so you went to work. Where'd you go?
Yeah, okay. So first of all, during that 2 years of training on the job training, your goal is to do all types of dental restorations, because when you set that exam, you have to do all types of restorations. So you'd be crazy just to sit there and wax gold crowns for 2 years and then you wouldn't know
Yeah,
how to
that'd be
do a full over
boring.
full. That was my goal for that first 2 years, was to try and work in either one big lab and get moved around, or work in a few various different labs. And that's what I did. I ended up working in probably 2 or 3 different smaller labs, getting experience in all aspects of it. And from that, what was great about that was that I discovered that what I really enjoyed was crown and bridge.
So are you saying like waxing, metal finishing, and building?
Yeah. So, full gold crowns, PFMs,
Yeah.
metal-free restorations.
Yep.
Implants hadn't really started at that stage. Basically, I knew I wanted to go into crown and bridge. I knew that I wanted to be a crown and bridge dental technician. So I then, after I got registration, I then sought out a crown and bridge lab and worked in about 2 or 3. And then I moved overseas. I moved to London. And I worked in Harley Street in one of the big.
Well, hold up. How old were
Yeah.
you, and how did that happen?
Okay, by this stage, I think I left in about 1988, so
You
I
had to
would have
be
been
fairly young,
22,
right?
23,
Wow, that
24,
takes
something like that.
balls. How did you do
Yeah.
that?
Well, my mother's English and my father's French. So I had residency in England and I had a European passport anyway, as well as an Australian passport. So I could live and work anywhere in Europe or the UK anytime I want. So I took that opportunity.
That's pretty awesome, actually.
Oh, it's fantastic. It's fantastic. Yeah.
I'd like to be you
So
back then.
I decided to take that opportunity up, and I moved to London, and I worked in Harley Street for a company called VHF Dental Laboratories, and they were a crown and bridge lab. And the benefit of them was that the owner, his father was a leading professor of dentistry in Harley Street, who was at the forefront of dental implants. So I got my first I got my first taste of dental implant work in about 1990, 91, and I basically started doing implants as a young guy back then. And again, that really interested me because it was sort of like that whole Meccano set sort of ideology where you get bits and pieces and bolt it all together and make a crown, and it was all pretty exciting.
Back in the 90s, man, implants.
Yeah.
Whew.
Oh, look, I was
That was
working
like
on.
way new.
Here's the Wild West.
Yeah, I was working on those crazy zygomatic implants that were like 6 inches long that went through into, like, I don't know if you remember those, but
I
it was
do.
crazy,
they're still
crazy
around.
stuff. It was
Yep.
crazy stuff. And, the new Brannemark, Brannemark
Yep.
was the new kid on the block, and they had all this whiz-bang fantastic implant systems and Stereos and a few other names like that were sort of starting out. So I got to experience a lot of that early in implant history, I suppose. The other benefit of working in the UK is they have a 2-tiered system there. They have national health, which is the government subsidised health
Yeah.
for the general public, and then they have a private health system. Now, being in Harley Street, which is the medical sort of hub of London, it's where all the top labs and doctors and specialists are. So I got to work on some of the really top end work, but we also did a part of it which was part of national health. Now, the national health, for all of its benefits and so forth, is still a budget system, right? You'd make crowns,
Yeah.
you'd make budget crowns, and you'd bang them out. And I learned how to do 25 models in a morning and wax 25 units in the afternoon and cast them and trim them and sort of, get to be very good very quickly and be able to do a fairly high standard of work at a very fast rate. The benefit for that was that when I came back to Australia, I was sort of a lot better than a lot of the locals because I had the speed and the quality from that pressure in the national health system. So I left London. I came back to Australia. I then got a job with a German technician who'd emigrated to Australia, who was extraordinarily good. Like we used to get quite a few German technicians that would come over and emigrate to Australia, and 99% of the technicians that came over from Germany were at an extraordinary standard level.
Yeah,
and it
we've heard that.
it was so good for our industry to have these guys turn up and show a level that we all wanted to aspire to. So I worked for a company called Physodent for 3 years, and then I had an associate or a friend of mine, sort of like a mentor, who was working as a freelance dental technician. So he'd owned a lab in the 60s and 70s, and he sort of sold that lab and went off and retired, and then decided he wanted to get back in the industry, and he freelanced. So he'd go out to different labs all over New South Wales and go spend a couple of days there when they're flat out busy, and basically run the lab if the principal wanted to go overseas over a holiday or just needed extra hands. And he did that for a couple of years. But towards the end of that, he approached me and said, "Look, do you want to start a lab?" And I said, "Well, yeah,
Oh,
sure." And he
wow.
goes,
There you go.
because
Yeah.
he was getting to the point where he was sick and tired of traveling all over the place. And he thought, okay, well, I'll set up a lab in my house, and you can set up your lab wherever you want, and we'll work together. And so that's what we did. I started a company called North Shore Dental Ceramics, and we started out as just the two of us, and we did crown and bridge work. And that started in 1993, and I sold it in 2017. And during that 27 years or whatever it was, 25 years, we'd built up a very, very successful big lab, or medium to big lab for Australia or for Sydney. At one point, we had 10 staff. We were turning over nearly $1 million a year.
Wow.
During that time, I think I'd constructed about 8,000 implant crowns.
Oh, I bet.
God knows how many other crowns. We were doing like full arch restorations every month.
So I've got a question. Take me back a little bit, though. When you're that young and you guys decided to partner up, how did you start marketing and or promoting a lab
Okay.
without clients to build it like that? Like, what did you do? What's the secret sauce? I'm really curious.
Okay, there's a couple of things you need to know. First of all, my associate, a guy called Ivis Lanskis, Ivis was, I think he's 20, 30 years older than me. So he'd been around the block already. Like he knew the industry. He'd
Ah,
owned his business. He was the brains. He had the knowledge. I was the young kid with all the get up and go and
Yeah.
wanting to make it work. And he had all the knowledge and the experience. And that's what worked really, really well together. We got on like a house on fire.
that's so cool.
And he had clients that he'd been doing work for years that he asked if they wanted to be part of our team, part of our lab, and they agreed. And then during the time, we sort of slowly built it up. Now, the first 5 years were hard. The first 5 years, I worked 3 jobs, and
I bet. Yeah.
the other 2 jobs were so I could eat and pay rent. And the laboratory, basically, any money I made went into buying equipment. So for 5 years, I just worked my backside off and bought equipment.
Yeah.
Every
Yep.
time I had a spare $4,000 or
Oh, it's
$10,000,
going here.
I'd go
Yeah.
buy something.
That's actually genius, though. I mean, it kept you above the curve, obviously.
Well, I've never been a lazy person, and I think that's probably my edge to everybody else is the fact that working hard doesn't scare me. And even now at 60, I'm really working 3 jobs still. I've got my dental laboratory, I've got a technical education position, and I've got a hobby job which I do at night, which is DJ. I'm a nightclub DJ.
Come on.
60-year-old Australian nightclub DJ?
That's awesome.
Absolutely.
That's amazing.
So anyway, let's leave that for a little bit because we'll go back to the lab. We'll go back to North Shore Dental Ceramics.
Yep.
Obviously, you didn't stay in a house.
No.
You must have bought a place. I mean, 10 people fitting in your bedroom is awkward.
I bought a business unit. We moved the lab into the business unit and we set it up. It was I think we set it up in about 1993, and it was a state-of-the-art lab. I spent an arm and a leg getting it, to the level that I wanted it to be. So we had all the brand new Cavo benches, we had all the brand new fume cabinets, and it was a state of the art lab in 1993, right? And
Sure.
it cost I bought the business unit that we put it in, and then we fitted it out, and we started working like crazy. One good friend of mine, when he knew I was going into business, he said to me, look, the best thing you can do is you take the biggest bite you can and you chew like hell. And
that's great advice.
And you know what? That's exactly what I did, and it's exactly what happened, and it worked. So we worked in the lab. It was a great experience. I enjoyed the lab. It was hard work. I made a reasonable amount of money out of it. Only because I worked hard, not because we get paid really well, as everyone knows in the dental industry.
I know that.
We're not earning $3,000 an hour, so you can make money in this business, but you got to work twice as hard as everybody else.
At what point did you quit your other 2 jobs?
When I got too busy in the lab, when the lab started to take over as far as the workload is concerned, then the other 2 jobs sort of, disappeared, I suppose. And in a way that was okay. I was happy with that because the other 2 jobs had done what they wanted to do, which was feed me and pay my rent. Yep. Now the lab was doing all of that for me, so that was good. And I sold that lab. This is a funny story. I had no intention of selling the lab. Right? I was only 57 or something, and I thought, I'll keep going for another 10 years, and then we'll look at maybe downsizing or selling the lab or whatever. And as it happened at the time, this is when the whole digital thing started to explode in Sydney. And there was a couple of big labs that wanted to expand and wanted to take advantage of that digital sort of transformation as far as laboratories are concerned. And so they were out looking at different labs to purchase. They approached me and I was just not interested. I just said, look, I'm not interested. I said, well, give us a price. So I gave them a stupid price, right? I thought, okay.
And they said yes?
And they said yes.
Oh,
right?
my God.
So, then I was stuck in a situation. I was like, well, do I sell or do I not sell? And then I thought to myself, I don't know what it's like in America, but in Sydney, a dental laboratory is worth zero. Okay, without the principal, the lab is really worth a bunch of secondhand equipment, which is maybe a couple of $100. Doesn't matter what sort of
Yeah.
lab you got, right? So these guys offered me an extraordinary amount of money, so I had to take it. I wasn't going to say no.
Did you have to stay?
Yeah, oh yeah. I was on a 2 year contract. I was on a 2 year
Yep.
Okay.
contract, and I worked out that 2 year contract. That sort of happened around about COVID, when COVID hit. And
Mm.
anyway, so I exited that business in a manner that I didn't really agree with, but anyway, it was beneficial to me to exit that business at that time. So I did that, and then I started to do free. My associate by this time obviously had retired. He'd gone off to play golf every day.
Good for him. Damn it.
Yeah.
That's
And
what I want
so
to do.
when I finished out my contract, I then started working freelance for a little while, and then I decided to start another lab. This lab that I have now, Sydney Dental Restorations, is a one-man lab. It's me only, and
Oh.
it's a great lab to have because you do everything from emptying the garbage bins to
Yep.
invoicing the work. So
And you don't have the drama of people.
I don't have staff. I don't have, I've obviously got a few clients and they're very happy with my work. And I do an amount of work that makes me enough money to make me happy, but without stressing my life. So that's
Love
good.
it.
That's good.
Well, that's a really great point about not stressing your life and doing
Well,
just enough or having enough clients. And
I know lots of dental technicians
yep.
who, will talk to you about working 16-hour days and
Oh yeah.
and
Yep.
sleeping in the lab and all this crazy stuff. And like, touch wood, I've never
It's like,
slept.
why?
I've never slept in the lab, right? And I just think to myself, okay, look, that's really great being conscientious, but you have a life. You've got a family. Hopefully you've got a family, and you've got a life that you've got to live. You don't live to work. You work to live. I think a lot of people sort of forget that. And I forgot that,
So do
when I was
I.
when I was running my lab, when there were days there where I was working 7 days a week. You
Oh, of
you, you
course. Yeah.
forget that, and you've got to not let the industry run you. You have to run your business, and not let the industry run you. Well, basically into the ground.
So, for all of our younger podcast listeners out there, how did you figure that out? Did you come to a point where you were just exhausted and said, F this, I'm done? Or did somebody teach you that? Was it a mentor?
It was something a little bit more serious than that. It was
I bet.
it
That's
was
why I'm
it, it was
asking.
a car accident.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
I don't know how deep you want to go into the personal part of it, but I'll just give you a quick rundown. In about 1998, when we just moved into our new premises and just spent a fortune on building the new lab,
Yeah.
I was DJing in a nightclub. I was driving home, and a drunk driver ran into me,
Mm.
Oh.
totaled me and my car. Anyway, so I ended up in hospital. They discovered a brain tumor underneath my head. I had to go in for emergency
Oh, my gosh.
surgery. I died on the operating table,
Oh
and they brought
my
me they
God.
brought me back to life. And then I had 6 months of rehab to learn how to walk and balance and do all that sort of stuff.
Wow.
In the
See,
meantime,
I knew that somehow when you said that, and I'm not being funny at all.
yeah,
Like when you said you've got
yeah,
to have work-life balance, like there's got to be something that
yeah,
taps you on the shoulder or some sort of
absolutely.
traumatic something.
I was lucky to have some very, very good staff, including my business associate Ivers, who would then run the lab while I was trying to stay alive. And
Wow.
eventually, I came back, and we just went forward. And financially, it was a very, very difficult time. Medically, it was a very difficult time. But I'm a fighter. I fought through it. I came through it all and didn't give up, and ended up going forward as,
And
as you
here you
normally
are.
do. Yeah, yeah. So
Yeah.
that
Did he bring you work when you were in the hospital?
That's actually funny, Elvis, but
I
I
mean,
can
you're
see
laid
that.
up. Your hands are working. Let's
Yeah,
give you a
that's
little
right.
work.
That's
Let's
right.
give him something to
Yeah.
do.
No,
Aw.
no, I don't. No. Luckily, my job was to learn how to walk.
Yeah.
Because
Wow.
when they removed the brain tumor, they touched on the balancing and motion part of the
Mm.
brain. You know those TV adverts, those insurance adverts, where you see the guys walking
Mm-hmm.
along the parallel bars and the nurse holding them
Yep.
or the physio. That was me.
Oh,
And
geez.
so, like, I'd walk out from the front door of the house to the letterbox and then back again, and then go and sleep for 4 hours, and then do it again in the afternoon. And then the next week, I'd walk to the neighbour's house and back, and then the next week I'd walk to 2 houses up. Then the next week I'd walk, 500 metres up the road. Then the
Yeah.
next week I'd walk a kilometre. And by the end of the 6 months, I was running 10K. So
Aw.
it was.
We're both runners. That's awesome. I love
So
that. So, may I ask you if you hadn't have gotten in that accident, would they have not have discovered the tumor and it had possibly been worse?
absolutely. Like, it
Wow.
was.
So it was like a blessing in
Well,
disguise?
okay, get this. This is the weirdest thing. They reckon I had the tumor since I was 10 of years of age.
Whoa.
Wow.
It was the size of a golf ball. It was massive, absolutely massive. And they said that the car accident probably stimulated all the symptoms that I was getting, which were like incredible headaches and all this sort of stuff. And without the car accident, it could have sat there for another 20 years and done nothing, or it could have ruptured and I would have died on the floor in 10 seconds.
Wow.
Oh,
So
geez.
That's
so
crazy.
again,
That's a wake-up call.
yeah,
Seriously.
yeah.
Yeah, I'll say.
That was the sort of the reawakening and the realizing on what's important in your life as far as work balance, I suppose. And
Yeah.
it was for me, I look at it as a life-saving event. And I don't mean the nurses and the doctors. They did their job incredibly, but my work ethic was of such that it was taking over the rest of my life, and I needed a work
Mm-hmm.
balance reset, and that's what did it for me. So anyway,
Yeah. Wow.
so
That's a
Absolutely
really great
amazing.
story, sincerely.
while I'm doing all of this, by the way, in about 2000, I applied to be a casual teacher at our technical college for dental technicians. And for the next 20 years, that's what I did. I worked 1 day a week at the technical college teaching dental technicians crown and bridge work. And 2 years ago, they approached me. I'd sold my lab. I had my other lab, which was going, as busy as I wanted it to make it.
Mm-hmm.
And they approached me and said, "Look, do you want to apply for a full-time position as a dental technology teacher?" I said, "Well, I'm okay. If you want me to do that, I'll give it a go." And so I applied. I got the job, and now I'm teaching a similar course to the one I did in the same rooms that I did in 1982. Quite bizarre when you think about it.
Yeah.
Like, I can sit in the seat as a teacher now that I sat in when I was a 17-year-old trainee.
And you're like, I'm still 17.
Well, as I said, I still think I'm 25. I still think I'm 25. The knees and the knees and the back sort of say a few different things, but the rest of me still thinks I'm 25. So until someone tells me different, that's
Good for you, damn
it.
Yep.
So, is there still 300 people applying for this school every year?
No, it's dropped off quite a bit. The really sad
Yeah.
fact about our training is that, as I said, when we did the course, it was 3,700 hours over 2 years, full-time course, and then work in the
Right.
laboratory for 2 years. The course has changed over that time dramatically, and the students now are doing about 1,200 hours over 2
Oh,
years.
geez.
So they're doing probably 2 days a week over the 2 years, and then they don't have to work in a lab because we've had state registration removed from dental technicians, or we call it deregistration. So they nationalised all of the health workers' registrations. So doctors, nurses, physios, or anyone who deals with the public on a medical
Yep.
level and dental level,
Yep.
their registration became a national registration rather than a state registration. And when they did that, which was about 10 years ago now, dental technicians were only registered, I think, in 2 or 3 states and not all of Australia. And so what they did was they took the lowest common denominator. Because there was no registration in a few of the states in Australia, they decided to remove registration for dental technicians. Now, we fought tooth and nail to try and stop that.
Right.
One of our problems was that what registration is for is it's to protect the general public against bad behaviour, anyone in the medical or dental profession. Okay, so what it does is if you're a registered health worker and you do something bad, then you're responsible to the government, and there's some big fines and jail sentences and all sorts of stuff that can happen to you if you do bad things. Now, dental technicians, we're all good people. We don't make mistakes. We don't screw up.
I think so.
We don't
Never.
hurt people. So we sort of made a rod for our own back because we were very well behaved. And we virtually had no complaints against us in 20 years. And so because of that fact, and because some of the states were deregistered anyway, they decided to remove registration across the board. So now anyone can come and become a dental technician in Australia. Anyone can come and, just set up a shingle out the front and say, I'm a dental laboratory. There's no restrictions or registrations whatsoever outside of industrial relations and council regulations and things like that. So it really is a huge leap backwards for us over the last 10 years. And no matter what lobbying we do to government, no matter what we do as far as industry is concerned, it's all on deaf ears.
Did you know they were going to do it? Like, did you fight to try to keep it, or was it just like all of a sudden it went away?
No. We knew what was coming, and we fought like tooth and nail. Like we tried everything. We lobbied government. We lobbied everybody. We tried the best we could and explained to them why this was a big mistake. And of course, government did what they wanted to do.
Yeah.
We have our suspicions on why, which I'm not going to make public now, but there were other bodies, I think, who prefer to see dental technicians deregistered, and probably for a financial gain. I'll just leave it at that.
Yeah.
I think if you can read between the lines, you'll understand what I'm sort of saying.
I can.
Can.
Yeah.
Got it.
It's the struggle we have here in the States of becoming registered.
For sure.
Yeah.
It's the same thing.
Yeah. So during all of this time, one of my other hats that I had was I was always
You have other hats?
I've got other hats.
I was like,
come on.
We gonna talk about
find that
DJing now?
I got a hat room.
I'm not surprised.
Yeah.
And that's a compliment. Just say.
We've had various organisations that represent dental technicians over the years. Originally, we had the Australian Commercial Dental Laboratories Association, which technically represented dental laboratories and not dental technicians.
Yeah.
And that sort of ran its course. And then we had another one called OPA, which was the Oral Health Professionals Association, and that was an attempt at bringing all of the dental auxiliary groups together under one banner. We've got the ADA here, which is the Australian Dental Association. They represent dentists across Australia.
Oh, we have that too. Same letters. We have it too.
Dentist, yeah.
Yeah, so they're a very big, very rich, very powerful organisation.
Same thing
and
here.
we work with them. They're a lot of them are good people, but there are some agendas there that we don't agree with, and I'm sure we've got agendas that they don't agree with.
Oh yeah.
But our goal with OPAR was to bring all of the dental auxiliaries under one banner, so dental prosthetists, dental hygienists, dental therapists, dental assistants, and try and sort of amalgamate into different colleges these groups together. Anyway, it's like trying to wrangle cats, It is
actually.
It just didn't happen.
Very well put.
Yeah. And everyone had their own arrogance about their particular training, and it was to the detriment of the dental industry. We've got about 10,000 dentists. Is it 10,000 dentists across Australia?
That's it.
And I think we would have had about 10,000 dental auxiliary members if we would have all joined together. So we would have been a force to be reckoned with as far as working with the ADA, but it never happened. So it sort of faded away. And we've now got an organisation called the Australian Dental Technicians Association. That's a national body. I'm the vice president of that body. And
I'm so surprised. You're not, are
and,
you?
and we represent dental technicians across Australia. We also
Good for you.
represent dental laboratories or dental laboratory owners, I suppose, providing an accreditation scheme. So a laboratory will have to abide by certain criteria, which is, standard sort of stuff like, WHS and corporation and work, industrial relations and all that sort of stuff. And what we do is we then provide backup for those organisations, for the laboratories, if they need it. Now, as far as dental technicians are concerned, we obviously represent them as well, and we provide a lot of backup for them in all sorts of levels. We're only really a new organisation. We've only been around for a few years. We've got a membership, I think, of about 500, just under 500. I think we're lobbying government for things. We're helping with industrial relations. We're helping with TGA. I don't know if you have something similar. We've got the Therapeutics Goods Association, which they regulate any medical or food or anything that goes in or on a human being. And so obviously being dental technicians, we have to abide by their rules and regulations. And we've been liaising with them on various things and various problems that we see. Again, that's really what our association does.
So, quick question. How did you know you wanted to be a part of that? So, obviously,
I think he started it.
Oh, you started it?
No. Well, I was at the beginning of it. I was part of the beginning of it because I'd been involved in the other organisations previously as well. And it was more it was self-indulgence, really. It was about putting back into the industry, but also
that's why I asked.
but also realizing we still have a long way to go as far as trying to get our industry recognized to a level where it should be.
So that's a beautiful quote, and I think Elvis and I can both say we agree.
100%.
Of course, he and I are both on boards in our industry over here in the U.S., but yeah, so you're a part of that whole thing in your home country. That's got to be super passionate for you, and you're not going to stop, right? So tell us, what are you guys going to do now?
Well, okay. So at the moment,
if you can,
at the moment, I'm working 35 hours a week training dental technicians. I really enjoy that. I really enjoy the face-to-face teaching of students.
Yeah.
And with someone with the sort of experience I have, I find it really quite easy.
Do you teach CAD-CAM at all?
Yes, we do.
You do? Good for you.
Yeah, we do.
What'd you say, Elvis? Sorry.
I asked him if he teaches CAD-CAM.
Yeah, we do. We do teach CAD-CAM, but, okay, obviously with the advent of CAD-CAM, 90% of laboratories now are doing probably more than 50% of their work via CAD-CAM. It is where,
of course,
it is where our industry is going. Analog will be cut less and less and less. Even though I think that if you're an analog technician, you'll be a very good CAD-CAM technician. Without knowing analog, you'll be a very average CAD-CAM technician. So at our technical college, we teach about 3 days worth of CAD-CAM, which is so basic, it's not funny. We get them to scan a model, we get them to import a scan, we get them to design restorations, and then that's about it. So they'll design, say, a zirconia crown, they'll design an RAPD front chrome frame, they'll design a splint, they'll design a special tray, but that's about as far as it goes. And we're pushing so hard to try and get that part of the course enlarged so it is a separate unit all by itself. And the problem is that because it's government funded training, they're tight on the money. They don't want to spend money, right? So
No, I
CAD
mean,
CAN's
it's the
expensive,
same
you
story
know.
in the schools here.
CAD CAN's
Yeah.
expensive. You drop $4,000, $30,000, $100,000 on particular pieces of machinery, and that machinery is out of date in 5 years' time. So it's very, very difficult for us to be able to afford the sort of machines that we really need to train these students. Now, the software is great. We basically are training them through 3Shape. I'm an ExoCAD technician. I love ExoCAD. I think 3Shape sucks, but that's just me.
Yeah.
That's just me. And I want to bring ExoCAD into the portfolio as far as training is concerned as well. So I'm going to be looking at trying to do that over the next year, I suppose. And if we can get them into that software and train them with 3Shape and ExoCAD, I think then that will give them a good grounding when they go into their laboratory to learn on the real machines that they've got in their lab.
100%.
You know,
Yeah.
because if you think about it, most of the skill and the training is in front of that screen. Like any monkey can load a light cure liquid into a printer or load a blank into a milling machine. You know, that's
Yep.
not really difficult. The difficult thing is to learn how to use that software and to use that efficiently and be able to know anatomy and know the basic rules and regulations as far as standard dental technology. And again, that's what brings me back to the analog. If you know how to wax a chrome partial, if you know how to wax a zirconia or a monolithic crown, or if you know how to, design a splint, or if you know how to create the correct handle on an impression tray, and you do all of that in analog. Once you know that, then the digital stuff's easy, man.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
100%. Especially on ExoCAD.
Mm, mm, mm. Exactly. Exactly.
So this association, all 500 of these members, these are voluntary. No one's required to be a part of this, right?
Oh, you mean for the Australian Dental Technicians Association?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah. We're volunteers. Like we don't get paid. You know, we might get an airfare paid or a train ticket paid, but we don't get a salary out of it. We do it because we realise that our industry needs representation. You know, and if government bodies go and talk to or are looking to talk to people and there's no representation from dental technicians, then they're going to go and find someone else, in particular the ADA or someone else who've got their own goals and their own criteria, which probably won't be what we think is correct. So it's a huge problem for us, and that's why we decided to start this association and try and get our dental technician community together to benefit our industry, really.
Any pushback from your ADA?
Well, no, we get on with them well. We get on with them really well.
Good.
Oh, I'm so
Um,
happy about that. That's
yeah,
good.
we're not antagonistic to each other. There are other groups that we do struggle with, but the ADA realise that we are a part of their team and we need to be successful, as do they, as do dentists. And I think working together is the best way to do it.
Yeah.
If you were to go to the perfect world and find this dental utopia, the ADA would be the Australian Dental Association, meaning that any dental orientated person would be allowed to become a member. Now, it's not. Only dentists are allowed to become members. But if you think about it, hygienists should be able to, prosthetists, technicians, dental assistants, we all should be allowed to be part of one organisation. Now, if that was to happen, we could have the strongest voice as far as government regulation is concerned. But the other problem that the ADA see is that we would have the equivalent numbers as dentists in their association. So there could be issues where they would not be able to get an equal vote. And we might win some of
They ain't gonna
those,
allow that.
and well, you know where I'm coming from here. Like
Yeah.
it's all about them looking after their members, which is what their job is. That's what they're entitled to do. But it's sort of be nice if we could look after our industry as a whole rather than in separate groups. But again, I don't think that happens anywhere in the world. I've looked around the world. I don't know any other country that has that type of situation. And if you think about it, that would be the best way to go if all dental were in one organisation. Anyway,
Yep.
that's my dream.
Yeah, and I welcome this dream.
I do too,
I
yeah.
think the whole world would welcome this dream, but you're right, nobody does it. It's the same here in the States.
The sort of problems that we have in this country is that we are a very, very small group of people. In the scheme of things, we've got about 2,500 dental technicians across Australia. So we're only very small. Laboratories, anywhere between 500 and 1,000 laboratories across Australia. Again, very small numbers.
That's not a lot.
It's like, don't forget our population is 27 million.
Right.
Like,
Yep.
you've got cities in America that are that size, so
Exactly.
we have a huge country. We've got a small population, and our dental population is also in relation to that too. So I think it's difficult for us to make the general population aware of what we do. Like when you talk to friends and family and so forth, it's like, dental technician, we didn't even know you existed, It's like
I
the
used to
dentist,
say when I was growing up, my dad was like, I make teeth. And they would be like, you make teeth? Like, what is that? And I still think that resonates today where, somebody asks us
absolutely.
what we do and we're like, well,
We
I
make
make
teeth.
teeth. Yeah. And people look at us and they kind of cross-eyed over and they're like, wow, like everybody I talk to about it says that's really cool. But I do think we're the unsung heroes where people don't really know about us unless we tell them.
Well, again, that's our own fault, right? Because everyone thinks that the crown that they get comes out the back from the back of the surgery,
From the dentist,
the dentist quickly whacks it up together in the back room, They don't realise that there's hours and hours and hours of work involved in constructing the restoration and probably 20 years of experience on top of that to make it work, So I think that's probably half of our problem that
is us.
that we don't publicise ourselves enough. Another issue that we have in this country is a lot of overseas work. And with the advent of digital dentistry, it's a two-edged sword. It means then that work can be sent to an overseas laboratory and constructed and sent back within 24 hours and done at like maybe 10% of the cost of a local restoration. Now, it's hard. It's probably we've guesstimated that it's anywhere between 20 and 40% of laboratory work is going overseas at the moment in our country.
That's a fair amount.
That's a lot.
And overseas doesn't mean America, right?
No. We're talking about countries where the labour cost is fractional to what our labour cost is.
Yeah, you can't beat that, can you?
It makes it very difficult. But back to the double-edged sword. The benefit of CAD-CAM is that you're removing a lot of that labour costs from the actual construction of the restoration. And so those machines that everyone buys as far as CAD-CAM, they're not cheaper overseas. They're the same price as they are in America, as they are in Australia, as they are in China, as they are in Europe. Those machines are the same price as wherever you go, So what it means is that the variant, which is the labour cost, is being reduced, which means that the benefit of those cheap countries doing all that overseas work is being reduced. Their edge, which is their labour, is their cheap labour, is being reduced down very fast. So people are realising that with CAD-CAM, buying a crown from overseas compared to buying a local crown, by the time you add on the shipping and the time and all that sort of stuff, there's probably still a benefit to it, but it's getting reduced very quickly. Again, that's a really great thing because it means then that we're going to do what those overseas countries do, but we're going to do it locally. And that way you can still, again, you can build up your rapport with your client. You can provide the same services you can from an overseas laboratory at probably not as cheap as they do it, but at a probably more competitive price. So it just makes our job a little easier to make it locally rather than overseas. But again, you've got to be able to afford the equipment. You've got to be able to afford,
It's not cheap.
The first CAD-CAM system I bought was an Arm & Gerback system, and it was a state of the art. It was brilliant. Probably, I still believe that Arm & Gerback is probably one of the best CAD-CAM systems on the market. but it cost me $150,000
Oh
in
yeah.
2004 or 2005 or something, right? Whenever it was that I bought it. And you've got to make those machines work nearly 24 hours a day. Now, if you've got a laboratory in Europe or in America where you've got a population that will support that, then that's no problem at all. But don't forget, we're a nation of 27 million people. We've got Sydney is 4 million people, and we've got, I don't know how many labs in, probably 100, maybe 200 labs in Sydney, and they're all trying to make a buck. So you've got to try and make that $150,000 machine work 8 hours a day minimum, 24 hours a day if you really want to think about it. And that's a big ask because we don't have the numbers. We don't have those numbers. Those machines are designed to work at that sort of level. And if you haven't got the clientele, if you haven't got the numbers in your city, then it makes it very difficult to make that machine financially viable, right? So if I'm buying an equivalent machine, say I'm spending another $150,000 on a CAD/CAM system, I've got to make that machine pay for itself and make a profit probably within 5 years. So if you start doing the numbers,
yeah.
if you start doing the numbers on that, you're talking about thousands of crowns. And unless you're a big lab, it makes it financially limiting to own that machine. And take me, for instance, as a one-man lab, I don't own a printer. I don't own a mill. I don't own sintering machines. I don't own any of that manufacturing hardware. I do own a computer. I do own a scanner, and I do own the software. And I have realised that the amount of crowns I do as a one-man lab, I'll never be able to pay for and make a profit out of the actual manufacture. So what I do is I import my scans or I scan my models. I'll design my software, design my crowns or whatever I do with my software, and then I'll email that information to a friend of mine who does have all the mills and machines and all that sort of stuff. I'll get him to mill or sinter or print or whatever the restorations I need. He'll then send them back to me at a per unit price, and I'm quite happy to do that. I don't have to worry about a lease on an expensive machine. I don't have to worry about maintenance. I don't have to worry about buying stock. I don't have to worry about any of that sort of stuff. Breakdowns, other issues, mechanical issues. I don't have to worry about that. That's his problem. I don't have to think about that at all. All I do is I do my design, email it to him, he manufactures it, and then he gets it back to me, and then I do the finishing of the restoration. And I'm very, very happy with that system.
There's a lot of freedom in that workflow.
Absolutely, absolutely. Like if I was doing 20 or 50 units a day, then things would be different, okay? But the sort of lab that you need to do 20 to 50 units a day, I don't want that lab anymore. There's young guns out there, like 25-year-old, 30-year-olds who are dead keen to go and do all that sort of stuff. I've done that. I've done my full analog, full upper arch, full lower arch. At one point in my lab, we were casting 40 units a day. And for a lab with 10 staff, that's impressive. That's pretty impressive.
Oh yeah.
And we were doing full upper and lower reconstructions once a month. Like we'd get a full arch restoration once a month and do a 12-unit bridge or a 14-unit bridge or whatever it might be every month. We'd be doing that every month. And as I said, we've done 8,000 implants over that time. It's all good to stick that feather in your hat, but I don't want to be doing that anymore. I don't need that stress. I don't want that stress. The young guys can go and do all of that. They can all sort of, prove their manhood.
You know it.
Well, Mark, that's an incredible story from everything, from beginning, middle to end, and what you're doing now, and putting a lot of attention on the industry as a whole in Australia. It's good stuff, man. Thank you so much for coming on to tell us.
Look, I thoroughly enjoyed this. My story is a good story. It's had ups and downs.
Yes.
It's sort of I'm not finished by a long shot. I can see myself teaching at the technical college for at least another 10 years. As I
Nice.
said, I really enjoy that. I really enjoy putting back into the industry as far as the training of students is concerned. I think I'm reasonably good at it. They enjoy me as far as being their teacher. Some of the politics behind it can be a bit of a problem, and the administration part of it is pain in the rear end, but you got to take what you got to take,
Always.
so
Yeah.
I'm okay with that. The lab, I really still enjoy, constructing crowns. I really enjoy doing that small sort of, zirconia crown or full gold crown or single implant. I don't really do big work anymore. I'm just not interested. I've been there, done that, so I'm quite happy to pass that on. So I'll be keeping doing that. And as far as the DJing work is concerned, I'm flat out doing that as well, And again, I don't tell anyone, but I get paid to have fun. It's
I
you're
love
in a
it.
nightclub, you're having a blast,
Yep.
you get free food, free drink, and you get to enjoy the evening, and you get paid for it. It's a tough gig.
We love it, Mark.
Yeah. What I got from it was that you were blessed with another chance at life after you got in your accident.
Absolutely.
And you're kicking ass and you're teaching the young technicians and you're being an advocate for our industry and you still love what you do. And it's pretty awesome. So thank you.
No problem at all. I have you got any other questions? Have I not answered anything or any?
I think we covered everything, man.
I think we did too. You did good.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, thank you so, Mark.
No
Appreciate
problem
it
at all.
so much.
No problem at all.
Yeah.
It was so good. And you enjoy, what is it, Friday there?
Yeah, Friday. I've got an implant crown I've got to finish designing. I've got a report for the technical college I've got to put together, and then I've got to prepare for tonight. I got 2 shifts tonight DJing in clubs. So there you go.
Yeah. Oh, nice. Awesome.
Jeez.
Well, you go, guy.
I hope
loved
I
it.
have
Thank
half
you.
your energy at 60, man.
Look, a pleasure to meet you
Thanks
both.
so much, Mark.
Pleasure to meet you
40,
both, and
Elvis.
I can't wait to listen to this part of the podcast.
Yeah,
Awesome.
same here.
Thank you so much, sir, and I guess we'll talk to you some other time.
I'll be following you on Instagram. Don't you worry.
Okay, thanks so much, man.
Okay.
Have a good one.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
A big American thanks to Mark for coming on our podcast and telling us all about your amazing journey in dental and everything else you do, which is a whole heck of a lot.
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy, though, that a terrible car accident could also save your life and turn your life around. The Australian Dental Technicians Association is just getting started, and we would really love to see any of our listeners in Australia go check out australiandentaltechnicians.com.au to learn more about making the industry stronger.
All right, everybody. That's all we got for you. Barb, have fun on your cruise.
Thank you.
Don't think about teeth except for your own. And we'll talk to you next week.
Au revoir.
Bye.
Do I have to answer that question?
No. The views and opinions expressed on the Voices from the Bench podcast are those of the guest and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of the host or Voices from the Bench, LLC.